Hello and welcome back to Hawks podcast. Sorry for being out last week. We kind of just decided last minute that both of us had a lot going on, so we did not want to do one last week, but figured we get this out on Monday since tomorrow's Christmas Eve. Figured we get it out of the way. And the podcast bowl did go on, so sorry we did not get to preview it, but post podcast bowl. I'm surprised Matt didn't go with the "Here lies Seattle's hopes and dreams" with the meme of Squidward in front of the tombstone, but same message is conveyed. Um, yeah, I'll let Matt react first, I think.
So Denver, your playoff hopes are basically shot. GG, no re.
You know they just have to win like two games, right? Or
So Los
or
Angeles
one.
has the tiebreaker now.
Who are the other two teams though?
What do you
Because
mean?
Baltimore or Pittsburgh is the 5 seed,
Yeah.
then the Chargers. Who am I forgetting? That's the other seed.
Uh,
Because if they beat the Bengals head to head, they should be in.
should.
Yeah. It's the Bengals who could sneak in by winning out and some other teams losing. But I think it's a race between Denver, Cincy, and Miami.
Chargers, Denver, Colts, Miami, Cincinnati.
Yeah. I'd say the Broncos have the best chance of those teams to make it with their record
That's
currently.
fair.
Now, how good they are, I do see a scenario Cincinnati sneaks in, but
But it would also be Denver has to go to the Bills for their first game, which that's unfortunate.
yep.
But yeah,
But yeah, at least it was a good game.
that's fair. And
First
then
half was Denver, second half was Los Angeles.
Kansas City won a game by more than 2 points.
For the second time this oh wait, no, sorry, this isn't two score. I was gonna say they've only won two games this year by with two score.
But yeah, Kansas City wins again. Houston, I think you've already won your division, so
Yeah, they don't care much at this
yeah.
point.
Um, Baltimore finally beats Pittsburgh. Russell made a bunch of mistakes. That was kind of it.
Baltimore's offense. They went off too. But yeah. Giants at Falcons. Congrats, Penix, for doing a good job because 14 points were given to you by the defense.
Yeah.
But he played pretty well. Granted, it's against the Giants, but uh, looked better than Kirk Cousins, which is fun. Hey, all the people who are wondering if we should have we should have kept Kirk Cousins. How you feeling now?
That question's
How are
already
you
been answered
feeling now?
though.
Hmm?
That question's already been answered though.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Drew Lock isn't the answer either.
I don't think anything can be said at the Giants for anybody being
Giants,
answered.
you have one or
Ugh.
two games before you lock up the um one seed or one seed, what the hell? The number one draft pick.
And if you don't have a thank you note and chocolates in the mail to Las Vegas, then you're on the naughty list. Moving on, Chicago just did not show up against Detroit, which is sad because they should have beat Detroit on Thanksgiving. So that would have been another miracle that happened for the Vikings, but did not happen. So now Vikings have to win out because even if Detroit loses next week, it doesn't matter. Uh, but yeah, Detroit, there you go, another win. Cleveland at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's defense finally has a good outing, but it's against Cleveland, so it's just there.
If they were above 500, Joe Burrow would be easy MVP conversation.
I was about to say I don't know about easy MVP, but
Well,
he'd
if
be in
you
the
look at the
conversation for sure.
stats and they're above 500,
Yeah.
like if you really take a look into the stats, he is doing like number one QB type shit. It's just with how bad their season's been, nobody's actually like really taking a peek at the stats like people do for the bit or Josh Allen and Mahomes and whoever else.
Yeah, personally, I think it's Allen's to lose. Like as good as Lamar's playing, as good as Joe Burrow's playing. Well, it's just if you were to take any of those three out of their teams, Buffalo does nothing on offense without Allen. So he's such a major dual threat.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, Tennessee at Colts. Colts, you almost did it again. We were thinking you were gonna let some other team take our biggest comeback away. Thank you for not letting us lose that record. Um, Los Angeles against New York Jets. That was just an explosive game. Oh my goodness. I was just on the edge of my seat, man, you know?
Yeah, Rodgers sucks. That that's kind of it.
Stafford had a very bad day. I believe he had what 115 passing yards. Like it was not very good,
Yeah.
but
And
they got
then
it done. That's all that matters, I guess.
Washington, you almost lost to a team that didn't have Jalen Hurts for what, half the game, more than half the game. Like I think it was still like the second quarter when he got called out for the rest of the game. So
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett
And then
almost held it off, but
yeah. This moving on, this next one though, it did kill my fantasy playoffs, but because I do have Hurts in fantasy, so that was unfortunate. But this was one of the miracles Minnesota needed to happen. So thank you, Washington. I just hope we can capitalize on it. Um, this had huge playoff implications on it because now Washington should have the 7 seed all but one if they can win one more game. I think they punched their ticket. Um, so that's huge for them. And Philly going to 12-3 is huge for both Detroit and Minnesota. Um, because if both of us win week 17, then week 18 will be for the 1 seed, which is how I want it. Like win or lose, I want to know that week 18 matters the most it can. So I hope we get there. Uh but that was crucial. Philly, Kenny Pickett played well. Like for someone coming in against a division rival, um like he didn't play too terribly, but some of the mistakes obviously cost them and they couldn't capitalize as much as they should have been over Washington's like what 5 turnovers, I think.
that was also a type of lead that you shouldn't have been needing to make amazing plays to hold on to it. If
Yeah.
you want to be a starting quarterback, you need to be able to hold that lead without any struggles.
To be fair, the lead was gotten by Saquon being Saquon, and then Washington was like, "Hey, remember those yards you got in the first half? Yeah, no." Like credit to Washington, they shut him down in the second half.
But it was like in the first, second quarter, they could not stop him for jack shit.
Oh, not at all. Like, and I think the first quarter they let up like 100, like they let up 100 something of those yards. You see, he has 150.
Yeah,
Like he did not do shit in the second half. Is what I'm saying. Like
yeah.
credit Washington for that. And I think part of that is because there's a rookie quarterback. They're like, okay, let's bunch a lot of people in the middle, stop that run, get more people home. It's a great game plan. I mean, it's what people should do against backup quarterbacks. But I mean, as he didn't play risky football, and I think that's what Philadelphia needed to maintain the lead. Their defense just couldn't step up to the challenge. Their defense needed to make some stops, and they didn't. That's the way I see that game.
That's fair.
But CJ Gardner Johnson, I don't see how that's an ejection. He got punched in the face. I don't know if you watched it, but he got punched in the face and his helmet came off, and the ref took him out of the game.
Well,
If you haven't
speaking of
watched that video,
taking
go watch it.
Speaking taken out of the game, Cardinals, what happened? Several weeks ago, you were at the top of the division. Now you just got eliminated by the 4-11 Panthers.
Bryce Young is playing spoiler, and they could play spoiler again to Tampa Bay.
Like Chuba Hubbard and Bryce Young have been playing really well lately. Like, yes, Panthers, this is a lost season, but for a young team that's developing, these are the type of wins you want to see that we saw with Detroit a couple of years ago when they were starting their build up. Not saying
Hmm.
you're going to be in the same trajectory, but this is what you like to see. Now, what you need to do next year instead of the first 10 games is just you getting smacked again and then playing spoiler, you need some of these games more early in the season. Beginning of this year, you were just getting destroyed. Everything fell out, and now you're doing this. So you just
Well,
need
you
to develop
forget
where you
that
want
Bryce still needed his development, and he got that with Dalton coming in, and then after then he's been great. So
No, I'm just
I think
saying,
he's
like,
finally got his development. I think they have hope for next season. They're going to be picked what, like 7, I think, something of that nature. Especially if they keep playing spoiler, they'll move to like around 10. But uh, if they win more, but I mean, right now I'm trying to think of who they should go for. Like maybe go for the best receiver in the draft. After Travis Hunter. Um, maybe they go for a defensive playmaker. Like I don't really, not really sure, but they've got a ton of hope for next season, in my
what
opinion.
I'm just saying is, I get what you're saying about Bryce Young needing that development time. It's just you can't regress. You've got
Yeah,
to keep moving forward.
exactly.
Because at
You
the end
want to do
of
our,
last
our,
year,
our
we were
game
like,
last?
okay, we were seeing some good things. We get to the beginning of this year and it just fell through. You've got to connect the end of this season to the beginning of next. I'm not saying you go 5-0 in your first 5 games, but not looking like how he did at the beginning of this season. And hopefully, if they can keep the same system, he can grow under it during this offseason instead of another new system.
Yeah. You want to save our game for last, or
Whatever. I don't have much to say for it, so whenever you want to hit it.
we'll do it. We'll do it for last then. Um, New England almost did it, but Buffalo hung on. That was going to be the best upset pick in podcast history. With me picking New England at 1% of people picking it, and yes, that was on Saturday. So it's not like an early percentage check either. Um, so that would have been amazing. And early on, it looked great. It was 14-7 New England, and I was like, oh my goodness, this could happen. Yeah, but. I don't really care too much about that game. Buffalo wins when they needed to, but it sucks because if Kansas City wins one more game, then they get the 1 seed. So Buffalo needs to win out, and the Chiefs need to lose out. So for Buffalo to get that 1 seed. So I think it's all but wrapped away. Kansas City will win next week by like a point.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, what'll happen? They play Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah, on Wednesday.
Yeah. Their kicker's Boswell, right?
Yeah.
Boswell's gonna miss the extra point to tie the game. That's exactly what's going to happen. Guarantee. I'll put money on that if you want me to. Some stupid crap like that is going to be how the Chiefs win next week. Um, but moving on, you had Tank Bowl, Las Vegas. What are you doing? You had Travis Hunter gift wrapped in your lap. All you had to do was just keep playing poorly.
Yeah.
So bad for them. And hold on, now Matt, well, if you can join me for a round of applause. Miami won a game in December.
It was at home though.
It's still a December win. I think that the thing was always that they have like no wins in December. in a few years or whatever. But it might be on the road, but still, December win for them is rare.
Yeah.
But San Francisco's
49ers,
eliminated now.
the
Uh,
season's done.
yeah. Miami still has to do still has work to do to get into the playoffs, but it is still possible. It just needs some help from other teams and to win out, obviously. But we'll see what happens there. And then Tampa, what you doing there, bud?
Good Lord.
Yeah, you wanna talk about it? Probably not. We'll kind of just let you go, but just for reference, you did get swept by Atlanta, so if you guys do finish with the same record, Atlanta will push their Penix into the playoffs.
Jeez.
Thank you for the laugh. I had to make sure that that got through. Um, so yeah, Tampa, that's crucial, especially considering you have the easiest schedule on paper, but with Carolina just beating the Cardinals and they took you to overtime last time, you might have just lost what a must-win game. And what's funny is Dallas got eliminated this week.
Yeah.
So with a win, it's funny when teams get eliminated when they win. It really is. I don't know why. Like I know it's sad for the teams, obviously, but like when on the outside looking in, it's just like how do you get eliminated when you win? But anyway, moving on to the playoff game of this week, in which both teams were in dire need of a win, and it just so happened to be the two teams of this podcast that we have dubbed weeks ago the podcast bowl. I was convinced the Seahawks were going to win this simply because we have not won in Seattle since 2006. Um, but the Vikings surprised me. I did say I was going to let Matt go first, so I will do that.
All I gotta say.
You're just saying the graveyard.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll try and be quick with mine. I wrote mine out early.
Okay. All right. Let me
Um,
be serious for a minute. Let me be
okay.
serious. This team is 3-6 at home. They're 5-1 on the road, which you would think, oh, that's a playoff team. What's their home record? Oh, 3-6. Seattle now has to not only win out, but the Rams have to lose out, and they face the Cardinals, who just lost the Panthers this week for any shot.
I will say
I
the
don't even
Cardinals are a good
see.
spoiler team.
I don't see that happening. But oh, where do I start with this damn team? The offense and defense can never play together in one unit at the same time. The defense will get stops. The offense can't do shit. The offense finally scores. The defense just, oh, let's just let Justin Jefferson get wide open down the seat. Oh, God damn it. Gino needs to go. I get he was hurt. I don't give a shit. He needs to go. He's done. He's had his time. It was a good story while it lasted. It's time to move on. I don't know who needs to talk to DK Metcalf about his choice of routes, but you need to sit down with him all off season and work on that shit because his communication was way off in this game, especially on the final play. Um, there's just oh my gosh, there's so many issues with this team. We had more false starts than the Vikings did at home, which that's just how you can't do it. Like this team is
I
just
was
so
surprised about that stat too.
frustrating. Like we keep saying, oh, we did this for the offensive line. It doesn't work. Oh, we did this for the offensive line. Still doesn't work. Like, I don't know where to go with this team. And right now, Geno Smith is the quarterback for next year, which I know he'll be because he's still under contract. and Seattle won't move off of him. I don't know if I want to be a fan of this team next year because it's going to be the same shit, the same mediocrity, the same choking when it matters. Like, what else is there to say?
It could be a Vikings podcast. Your dad is a Vikings fan.
I'd move to the Steelers first.
But what happens when Russ retires?
I find something.
All right. Was that all?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so first off, got to shout out Dallas Turner and Theo Jackson for their first interceptions of their careers. Came at great moments too, capitalized off a field goal of Dallas Turner. And Theo Jackson obviously called game. So great times for it, and also just love to see the rookie and the backup safety that we've had for like 2 or 3 years get their first interceptions. Van Ginkel is now the second player since 1982 to have 10 or more sacks and two or more pick sixes in a season. So that is amazing. He also recorded the only two sacks on Geno this week, which was a little disappointing considering the Packers got seven. But I will say it seemed like everyone that was injured for the Packers, almost all of them came back against us, including Kenneth Walker, who I assumed combined with DK Metcalf and JSN were going to be a huge problem. Um, I did tell Matt earlier that DK Mac like earlier in this whole season that DK Metcalf would definitely do well against us, and he got his first touchdown since October. So I did kind of call that. Um, but your offensive line played very well. Our defensive line had to just keep trying, keep pushing, and then eventually hit home in the fourth quarter. Um, but yeah, you guys were like a brick wall. Uh, but then you got Jefferson with a career high 144 yards, and a career high match with two touchdowns and against one of the best secondaries in the NFL. Um, cue the picture against Witherspoon where he was flagged for apparently taunting because Gritty is taunting now. So, uh, sure, why not? We still made the extra point, so it doesn't matter. We didn't turn the ball over. Sam Darnold did like have the ball pop out of his hands once, but we recovered it. So very important that we played another turnover-free game. That was Sam Darnold's 12th game this season with a passer rating above 100, which is just insane. We kept Walker in check. I think you guys got like 60 something yards on the ground to our 87. So like neither of us rushed the ball too well, but we were assuming Walker was going to be a huge problem. Uh, there were some no calls on a few push offs, including DK's touchdown, and Barner didn't have full control of the touchdown grab, but it is what it is. It was called there, and at least the refs called the face mask. So on only our second trip out west. So that's officiating is always going to be officiating. Um, our teams played arguably the most boring third quarter ever. It was a field goal, punt, 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 punt. So very interesting. Third quarter, I'm sure. And then Darnold throws that late TD between two defenders in his face in double coverage right after a play where Byron Murphy grabs the face mask and his ankle gets rolled up on. Then he just comes in and does that. Like that has gotta be the best play of his career so far. Like, my goodness, watching that back, it's like, holy crap, how did he do that? Um, and our team, as Matt mentioned earlier, was very well disciplined. We did not have many pre-snap penalties, which is crazy because you guys do have the loudest stadium in the NFL. Um, you guys specifically built it to funnel in all that noise. And it's been a pain for other teams to face. Our punter and gunners did a great job. Special teams was really good at pinning you guys back, which I think was great for the entirety of the game. Reichard was clutch as always. Great win on the road. And again, like playoff atmosphere was here. The Eagles lost earlier that day. We Detroit won. We've got to keep pace. And this was a must-win game for us as well. So and I think both teams played their heart out. And I'm glad to see the Vikings finally didn't waste the game because in many prior years, whenever there was a prime opportunity, just take care of business in front of you, we go and lay an egg. So I'm glad we didn't do that. If we win out, we get the 1 seed. If Detroit wins out, they get the 1 seed. So it's very much in our hands right now. If we can take care of what's in front of us, thanks to the Eagles losing. Um, so we just gotta hope that's what's gonna happen. And Kevin O'Connell is now the first coach in Vikings history to have two 13-win seasons. So overall, just amazing accomplishments for a few players, but also for the team. Um, 13-2, not bad for a rebuilding year. So I always love the meme. If you keep looking at the golf meme and how it changes, it's one golfer's 13-2, having the Detroit having the best season of their franchise, and the other one's just chilling with a cigarette or whatever, and he's just like Vikings at 13-2, just chilling with Sam Darnold. It never ceases to be funny, but. Yeah, just gotta hope we can keep it up. We've got a tough 2 games ahead of us. And like Matt said, Seattle's got to win out, and the Rams have to drop their next game against the Cardinals. So, gotta hope they stay alive. Um, let's just hope both of us win out. The Rams lose the Cardinals, then both our teams can make the playoffs. So, that's all I gotta say for that.
Okay, that'll be it for our week 15 reactions. We'll be back with power rankings and then our week 16 predictions, and that'll be all for this week. Peace.
Have a happy holiday. Skull.